Hello and welcome to Turkey. This is an immersive view of the beautiful country of Turkey. This is a Morris production. Hi, I'm Kimberly Morris, and welcome to Turkey. Turkey is a fascinating country located at the crossroads of Europe and Asia. Its capital city is Ankara. So, Istanbul is the largest and most famous city. Turkey has a population of 85 million people, and the official language is Turkish. The country is known for its rich history, diverse culture, and delicious cuisine, making it a unique and vibrant destination. Let's talk about a little bit about the historical of Turkey itself, some of the events and figures that have happened in their past. The reason we're doing this is we are learning about the culture of Turkey so that we can better serve our fellow man and to, when we counsel them, we can be humble and know them a little bit better. We're doing our due diligence. So let's talk about Turkey. It used to be known in the Bible as Asia Minor, and there's a lot of people that have come from Turkey. A lot has happened in Turkey. Most of the Bible, the Old Testament, was written in Turkey. For example, Noah, he landed his big ark in Turkey and started the human race over again. Abraham, Jacob, Moses, the apostles Paul, John, Peter, and Mary. And another event is the seven churches of Revelations, chapter 1. All seven of them are included in Turkey, modern day. Also, somebody else you might recognize from history is good old Saint Nick. Ho, ho, ho. He's from Turkey. Big cities, Cappadocia and Ephesus. Some major events that has happened is the Ottoman Empire, where the people of Turkey were not free. They were not free individuals until Independence Day. And that was Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, pictured here. And he set them free. And in his honor, National Sovereignty Day was established, kind of like our Independence Day. And then they dedicated it to the children. So it's the Children's Day. Some prominent customs and practices and behaviors there. Now, in counseling, being culturally humble to all these customs can help to put the client at ease and develop the therapeutic relationship. And that's really what this is about. We have set the ACA standards, the ACA Code of Ethics that gives us a little insight into what all we need to be doing to serve other cultures. And we'll get more into that in a little bit. The customs in Turkey include being hospitable, fully ready to share your tea or coffee, respect for elders, and the kissing of hands, as well as removing your shoes at the door and eating good food from olives and citrus fruits in the south to grains and vegetables in the central regions. Let's see a little bit more. One of the main issues in Turkey is religion. Now, after they became an independent nation, a sovereign nation, a secular nation, they wanted nothing to do with all the disputes that were happening because of religion. So, even still, the top religions in Turkey are 98% Muslim, less than 1% Christianity, and 6% of the Muslims, they're basically atheist or unaffiliated. Now, in the same way I had the garb at the beginning of this presentation, and but underneath, if you'll see, I have my Jesus shirt on. The same way that I'm still a Christian is the same way I'm still a Christian, even if I'm ministering to a culture that is over 98% Muslim. We've got to be very sensitive with that. One of the ethics is that we don't impose our religion on another culture. When the counseling these of a different religion, it is important to be culturally humble and non-imposing of our religious beliefs, unless, of course, the client asks to know more about it. Now let's talk about the intergroup similarities and differences. Most of the people in Turkey are Arab. Um, of the Muslims that are there, most of them are Sunni, Sunni, and Alvi. You can see it over there. Turkish culture is a mixture of many influences, including the Ottoman, the Byzantine, and the Greek. Everybody has a derivative there. Turkey has distinguished itself from other Muslim nations by declaring itself a secular country. They no longer greet each other with phrases like Assalamu alaikum because it carries religious implications. This country seeks to cater to all religions or to none at all. Oppression in Turkey. So, right after Christ died, Paul started to do his journeys into modern day Turkey, or Asia Minor in his day. From that time, which was about 33 AD, until 330, he did his journeys. He went into all the different areas and he planted churches. By 330 AD, the Byzantine Empire developed, which was a branch of the Roman Empire, and Christianity was the religion of choice. All the way from 330 AD to 1453, it was fully Christian. Now, the Ottoman Empire in 1453 under Sultan Muhammad II in Constantinople developed the Ottoman Empire. That was an exclusively Muslim regime. So through 1923, that is when they were liberated by Mr. Ataturk. Resiliency, strength, and accomplishment. With all of those years of oppression from the Muslim authoritarian individuals, they finally have broken free and become an independent nation. And they've made a lot of progress in this little time that they've been a country. First and foremost, before we get into these things, I have to talk about the tech. The technology nowadays is amazing, especially in the medical field. I'm going to go to the dentist, but there's all kinds of other things, and at a fraction of the price, like a fraction of the price of the United States. Quality materials, happy customers, it's driving a lot of business to that country. So I applaud them in that. Also, sports are important part of life in Turkey, and the most popular is football, believe it or not. There are many famous soccer clubs in the country. Basketball is also very popular, and Turkish teams and players enjoy success in European competitions. Traditional sports, now catch this, they do have wrestling, but they have oil wrestling, in which the wrestlers compete while soaked in olive oil. They have deep cultural roots. Funny. Cultural roots, and Turkey has a strong tradition in wrestling and has won many medals in international competitions, including the Olympics. So they've been resilient politically, they've been resilient in technology and in the sports arena as well. I had the privilege of going to a couple of events. I tried to go to another event, but they had relocated and didn't tell GPS. So we were unsuccessful in one of our ventures. The one that I did get to go to is the Turkish Food Festival, pictured here in the median here. And we got to sample some of the authentic food from that country. It was really yummy. But more importantly, while I was there, I got to talk to some of the locals that were from Turkey. Now, you had the older generation, you had the younger generation. Let's see, I skipped one. And then um, you had the ones that they would say had passed from, the traditional into the American culture where they were widely accepted. So we did have those. The lady that I spoke to at the food festival, she I introduced who I was, project I was working on, and it opened up her mind to, I don't even know if she understood the possibility that counseling existed. Like when I told her that counseling was a way to process ideas, emotions, meaning, as well as, you know, open up, make decisions about life things. And she just could not understand how you could do that with a stranger, much less some of her coworkers. But anyway, once she got more comfortable with the idea, she started telling her fellow workers around her, and there is a possibility that we might be able to reach her entire culture. So I did go ahead and schedule some of the food classes to actually learn to cook them to get to know the culture a little bit better. The slide switched on me, but let's now talk about um, the interviews that we had. I did do I did two interviews. One with the dentist that is going to be helping me here shortly, and that was Dr. Baran Bardaki. You can see his beautiful smile in the picture. Now, Dr. Baran is a native of Turkey. So he didn't have to go through the process of learning a new culture like some of the people that have come to the United States have. And then that's why I included Richard Giles below. This is his assistant at the office, and he is from Haiti. So he had to adapt from his culture in Haiti and to the Turkish way of life. And he tells us a little bit about his story and how he really did struggle at first, but he's in his element now. He's made the crossover. So good job, Richard. Good job, Dr. Baran. To summarize some of the things that I've learned from my walk, now with the festival that I went to, I learned how the older people and the younger people, they're two different cultures. The older people, once you speak to them and once you talk to them, you know, just a gesture of tea was what opened it up for me. I had asked, they had coffee for sale, but I was like, "Do you guys have chai?" And immediately their eyes opened and they're like, "Chai." So the oldest lady there, she came over and she offered me her personal chai. And so it was through that experience and some others that I realized these are very nice people and they're not trying to cause trouble. They're trying to be respectful and all they need is a little understanding. In the interviews, some of the things that I learned was uh, because of all their oppression, I felt kind of sorry for them in a little way because they just kind of walk so humbly and so like they're still in the oppression in like in their mind, at least the older ones did. And the way they dress was a little bit grays, and but the younger ones, I did notice that they carried a sense of pride about them, that they were a little bit more modern, but very respectful of the traditions of their older people. The other thing is I learned from Dr. that Dr. B is what we call him, that they'd never have let their obstacles and their oppression hinder them or stop them from being world leaders. They understand their heritage. The national pride is really big with these individuals. So competencies applied to Turkish culture. Now, specifically, let's get into the nitty gritty of it. Specifically, um, because of the tendency for the Arab people to be a little bit shy and not seeking out individual counseling for themselves, they're more introverted. Um, Turkey specifically also, some of the things work better with them than other competencies. CBT is one of the counseling techniques that have really I've done a lot of research. You'll see the information below where I found it. But CBT is a really good resource, a really good therapy for these people group. Also, community-based intervention. Because they are a community, it makes sense that they get counseled the, as a group. Um, Trauma-informed care. A lot of them have been through trauma, and we need to take them from where they are and help them through their obstacles. So those are three examples of interventions that help with this particular. Okay, competency wise, we'll explore that on the next slide. So to recap, what we're doing here in multicultural counseling is we are striving to learn about ourselves and our culture, what we believe, what our attitudes are, what speaks dignity to us, what speaks no bias, what speaks justice, fidelity. And then, in humility, we embrace another culture and the way they do things. And self-awareness, knowledge, skills, social justice, client identity. Who do they say that they are? Not just in their culture, but as an individual. We need to do the research like we've done for the individuals for Turkey, then weigh it against our own culture, and then finally be submissive, non-imposing to our clients, and listen. Listen to their religion, listen to their strengths, their accomplishments, their oppression, uphold their autonomy, do no harm, do the best thing for them, benevolence, and finally, whatever it takes to build that therapeutic relationship. That's what we're here for. We're here to serve. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for your responses.